Now, I'm going to give you a fair warning. This video is going to touch some nerves, especially to those of you who are faithful churchgoers. So my advice to you is to go ahead and click off right now. Religion, the church you attend every single Sunday, and those of you who go on Saturdays, even the very so-called good book that you read, has many of you in a spiritual chokehold. You are spiritually dead. And when it comes to the good book, it's not the good book itself that makes you spiritually dead, but it's the misinterpretation of this book, specifically the teachings of Jesus, that makes you spiritually dead. Now, you have a lot of people who say, I'm a good person. I didn't deserve that. I ask you this question. What makes you a good person? Or, if you're such a good person, then what about that lie you told in order to get off from work? Or, what about that woman that you took a glance at and you said to yourself, damn, she fine, in your head while you walking alongside your wife? Or what about the item that you saw at the store that you needed? You didn't have the money for it, so you put in your pocket. What about those things? Or what about the person that cut you off in traffic and you called them every name in the book but the child of God, but yet you call yourself a good person? Nah, ain't nobody good. Nobody good. And you know what? That in itself is a good thing. And I'll tell you why. There is a verse in the Bible that talks about the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This particular tree, Adam and Eve was forbidden to eat from. Now, I don't know about you, but there comes some times in my studies when I read certain things, especially when it comes to the Bible, one time's past, it raised questions because my mind is very curious. I always want to know why. Have it ever occurred to you, or have you ever asked yourself why God forbidden Adam and Eve to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Haven't it ever occurred to you? But of course, the answer to that question would not reside in the Bible that we have been told we should read, and that this is the only book that we should be living our lives according to. No. What about the books that they actually took out of the Bible that gives you the reason as to why God did not want you to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil? It wasn't that, and this is what I thought. Because I was just sticking to what religion says, that we should just stick with these books right here. The King James Version, all these other translations that we have. We should just stick with those. Them other books, don't touch that, because that's heresy. What is it? Heresy? Whatever. You get what I'm saying. That's hogwash. That's fairy tale. You don't read those books. Really? Well, me being the little curious dove that I am, I went on a journey to find these books. And I've explored some of these books. And I got the answer as to why God, as we know, or as many as you know God to be, did not want Adam and Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It wasn't that it was going to separate them from him. No. Eating of this tree caused them to become enlightened to who they were and who this God is. Now, I might get some clap back on this. But before you give some clap back, why don't you do something that you have been told not to do? Think for yourself. Go on a journey and discover these books yourself. And see what type of information you get. Now, of course, this, again, I'm always going to say this. This journey is not for everybody. This is not for the fearful. This is not for the weak. This is for those who have always wondered, who always have questions, who for some reason can't seem to fit into the societal norms, to fit into this religious box. It just didn't feel comfortable. Something was missing. This is for these individuals. So before you go off saying, well, I'm a good person, I didn't deserve that. No, you're not good. You can be evil too. You good and evil. That's your dual nature. And what I'm going to say to you is for you to embrace that. That's how you become whole. By integrating the part of you that society says you shouldn't be. You shouldn't think this way. You shouldn't feel this way. Those lustful thoughts that you've had, embrace them thoughts. Them desires and passions that you had, embrace it. But see, the thing about integration is you acknowledge these parts of you without allowing these parts to control you. Because being whole and integrated does not mean you go off on a tangent or you go off being manipulative and malicious and doing things to people, out of ill will. No, that is not what this is about. This is about becoming whole and doing those things which resonates with your soul, what's true to you. And in doing this, you become enlightened to who you are. And when you become enlightened to who you are, you're able to connect with the universe in a way that brings your desires from your heart into fruition, manifestation. And I this would never cease to amaze me, the fact that before I got back into religion, but I understand why now. Before I got back into religion, I was on this path already. But of course, I had to get back into religion because there were some things that I needed, some pieces of the puzzle that I needed. I didn't need what religion was given because religion puts you in this box. But there were some hidden pieces that I needed that religion took out in order for me to put this full piece of puzzle together. And I must tell you, it is such a beautiful thing. It is truly liberating. So, don't go around calling yourself good. Don't go around being upset because a certain person treated you this way or that way. Look within yourself to see why you felt the need to go out on a limb for somebody. And because you didn't get the results that you expected to get from it, now you feel like you didn't deserve it. No such a thing. Become whole. And when you become whole, you choose wisely. So until the next video, peace.